Chinese manufacturer OnePlus makes damn good mid-range phones for enthusiast Android users, but their phone cameras have always fallen a bit short. So how does their newest phone, the 5T, compare to our current phone camera champ, Huawei's Mate 10 Pro? Let's put them head to head in Last Cam Standing. Last Cam Standing is PC World's video series that determines the best phone camera for still images in a King of the Hill style battle. Whichever phone wins moves on to face the next major smartphone release. Last year, the Mate 10 Pro from Huawei finished at the top of the smartphone pile. Its impressive optics and AI-powered scene recognition help it to take captivating photos. But OnePlus has once again reconfigured its camera setup, and on the 5T they pair a standard camera with a secondary low-light sensor. As always, we divide the testing into 4 categories: color, clarity, exposure, and user experience. All of our testing mimics how people use phones in the real world. I just pull the phone from my pocket and use the stock camera app with HDR processing set to auto. So some of you have asked, why not shoot in manual mode on a tripod saving to RAW files? Well, first, that's not even close to real world testing. Second, we aim for tests that reveal how the phone companies have tuned their camera settings for auto use. So while I'm confident in my ability to take a good photograph on a tripod in manual mode, I'm more interested in seeing if the phone can without those things. But I'm always open to hear about different testing ideas, so subscribe, drop a comment, or shoot me a tweet. With that out of the way, let's get to the results. The first category is color, and here we're going over color reproduction and white balance. This first shot of graffiti appears very close in terms of color reproduction. There's plenty of variation in each color, but we're starting to see differences in white balance. The Mate 10 skews cooler, while the 5T is skewing warmer. But this next shot switches things up. Huawei's intelligent algorithm accurately identified this scene as a plant and boosted the warmer tones. The 5T, on the other hand, kept things cooler but lost contrast and vibrancy. Now, neither of them is accurate to the eye, but both phones are tuned to respond to scenarios in different ways. This next scene is also very interesting. Check out the yellow curb and red pole. The Mate 10's shot feels natural, while the 5T produces almost pastel-looking fake colors. Now, look at the gray curb in the background. The 5T exhibits some serious green tint that affects the whole photo. This hallway in the Wynn at Las Vegas has a heavy mixture of natural and artificial light. The Mate 10 Pro once again leans cooler and the 5T warmer, but the 5T really floods the background in a heavy-handed deep orange. So let's finish with a landscape shot of San Francisco. By looking at the white clouds, we can see how tinting can affect the overall mood of a photo. On the Mate 10, a purple tint and cooler color temperature gives us a chilly winter day. But a warmer color temp and a green tint on the 5T feels more like a warm summer day. I say it time and time again, but color is a matter of personal taste. Personally, I found the Mate 10 to be more accurate, and its scenes are better suited for what I look for from a camera. So the color category goes to the Huawei Mate 10 Pro. The second category is clarity. We're looking at the sharpness of each image and how well each camera stays sharp in dark environments. Here we have a shot of fake plants at IKEA. Disregarding the dynamic range, we'll get to that later, we see a bit more noise from the Mate 10. But we also have a clearer image overall, despite the higher megapixel count of the 5T. Checking out this long shot in the warehouse shows the 5T faring even worse. The individual packages on the shelf have good separation in the Mate 10 Pro, while the 5T just doesn't come close. So where does the 5T shine? How about outside in full sunlight? Nope, Alcatraz Island is clear on the Mate 10. Maybe when we get a little closer? Not really. Zooming in on this beer list reveals an odd ghosting around the edges on the 5T shot. It's not camera shake and the photo is in focus, so I can't really explain what happened. But surely the 5T is great in low light, right? That's the whole point of the second sensor. So as we head into a dark garage, I've lost all hope in the 5T. The zoomed in results are rough. And this is just the main camera on the OnePlus, as I actually had to try really hard to engage the second low-light camera. You would hope that's where the 5T can redeem itself. Unfortunately, it's not the case. This shot does engage that second low-light sensor, and we see a bit more texture quality on the bricks. But zoomed into the labels, and I wouldn't call that a win over the Mate 10. so the clarity category easily goes to Huawei's Mate 10 Pro. The third category is exposure. We'll look at the dynamic range of each image and how each camera decided to expose for a scene. I'll include histograms in this section so you can follow along as well. In almost every lighting situation, I was pleased with how both phones exposed for a scene. I couldn't find any extreme examples of improper exposure, so there isn't much to report there, and that's a good thing. But when we start to compare dynamic range in photos with high contrast environments, that's a different story. Here on Alcatraz, there's a good amount of information lost in the shadows on the 5T. The Mate 10 Pro is a bit washed out, but I'd rather add contrast back in post rather than try to take it out. Same thing here. The Mate 10 feels a bit more processed, but it's still holding more information in the extreme ends of the exposure than the 5T. This next shot in Vegas isn't great looking, but it helps to illustrate a point. The highlights on the 5T are blown out, and there isn't even as much detail in the shadows either. So it's not an exposure problem, the 5T's HDR tuning just isn't as aggressive as the Mate 10's. So while it's not a huge win, the Huawei Mate 10 Pro takes the exposure category. The final category is user experience. Here we'll look at the extra features and what it's like to use the camera day to day. Like I said in the last episode of Last Cam Standing, the Mate 10 Pro doesn't have the most user-friendly interface, but it does offer a whole host of features like manual mode, a stunning black and white mode, RAW file support, and even an aperture slider for varying amounts of bokeh. But at the heart of the Mate 10 Pro is its AI-powered real-time scene and object recognition. The phone reads every scene and tries to tune the processing to match what's being shot. It's a whole other level of computational photography. On the 5T side, I was not blown away. The camera app is very close to stock Android, which means it was straightforward and easy to use, but it lacks any fancy features. It was pretty quick to launch and ran reliably, but it's nothing special. Like the 5 before it, the 5T also lacks OIS, or optical image stabilization. OnePlus's version of EIS, electronic stabilization, is not great either, so it's a real bummer, and I certainly felt its absence day to day. So Huawei's Mate 10 Pro takes the user experience category as well. Now for the money, the OnePlus 5T provides a solid camera system, but it's not enough to take the top spot. So for the second time in a row, Huawei's Mate 10 Pro wins Last Cam Standing. The Mate 10 Pro's dual camera setup, custom processing chip, and Leica partnership all help to secure the win. The second 20 megapixel black and white sensor not only helps the main camera take better photos, but also produces amazing shots on its own. It's a fun camera to use and I have no problem recommending it. But the Samsung Galaxy S9 is right around the corner. Will Huawei be able to hang on to the top spot for long? Subscribe, share, leave me comments, and definitely come back for the next Last Cam Standing.